Hey, how's it going, folks? I'm going to be responding to John Steiner. Hey, John, you actually get to see my face now, too. But anyway, I wanted to say a few things about that thread there because I kind of do feel bad about you with the way, you were just absolutely getting destroyed in that thread. You know, dude, you're getting passed around like a groupie at Woodstock in that thread. I don't know if you realize this. Okay, so the thing is here is that got it. You went through basic. You decided Army life wasn't for you. You went to the commander, said, "Hey, this really ain't working out. Is there a way you can chapter me out?" And the commander probably said, "You know what? If this is really what you want, I'll sign off on the paperwork." Commander chaptered you out, and your discharge was not an honorable discharge. You should know that. Any paperwork you still got from the Army, involving your type of discharge should say general discharge because you did not complete your term, John. you know, so going around and bragging about that, dude, I hate to break it to you, but you do that in front of other veterans who actually did do their time in, or at least made it through AIT and then went to their unit. They're gonna not look at you with very much respect. Maybe somebody who was a civilian who doesn't know any better might say, "Oh, well, thank you for your service." But for those who are civilians, imagine somebody who just got hired on in a company that will train you from the ground up, and then you quit in orientation or like right after orientation, one of the two. That's pretty much, you know, the military version of what you did there, John. um, and yeah, you signed up for the same MOS that I did. Good for you, but you didn't go through AIT. And by the way, I don't know when you went through, but I can tell you right now, if you thought the drill sergeants in basic were bad, going through 13 Fox AIT, you find the drill sergeants were going to be a lot worse. Just saying. So I'm going to get that out of the way right now. Anyway, so with this being said, John, if that's your only experience with the military, you really shouldn't be calling yourself a military expert. I know you passed your or tried to pass your basic training off as somehow making you above everyone else in the area of firearms. It doesn't. Well, first off, you're definitely not at the level of any veteran that made it to their unit and did their time. Because once you get to, caveat to that is once you get to your unit, and depending on what unit you are in, you might be handling firearms a bit more. And if you do a combat tour and you're actually doing missions that may put you in harm's way in the combat sense, well, you're going to learn a little bit more, actually, quite a bit more. And then with basic alone, you really can't sit there and say that you're more knowledgeable than anybody on firearms or even close to that point. Basic, you said the M16 was a hard weapon to learn and qualify on. The M16 is tame. It's milk toast. I mean, if you had a problem with an M16, you don't really need to be. telling everybody about how knowledgeable you are on firearms. This is like total Dunning Kruger here, dude. You know, and I'll tell you, being a veteran myself, doing my time in service, getting a few combat tours in, there's more you learn after basic, especially if you go to an infantry unit as an FO. And, what was I going? I got lost on that one. And being a firearms enthusiast myself, I can tell you, you learn even more about firearms. You know, I mean, you're talking to somebody who owns a bunch of firearms. You're talking to somebody whose main hobby is firearms. It's just the same with a lot of these people in that thread. A lot of them are big time firearms enthusiasts. So you can't hold a candle to that. I mean, you know, hey, I'm the type of guy who spends $2,300 on a firearm that is, in a sense, just a fun range toy, you know? Something I can take to the range and shoot for the thrill of it, something that looks pretty cool, something that's iconic. See, own NFA items, you know? Hey, John, I know they didn't teach you to shoot suppressed in basic. Again, this right here is a two-stamp build. You haven't gone through the process of getting one of those yet either, have you? So I'm going to bet your knowledge on not only the firearms themselves, but the laws around firearms aren't anywhere near to mine, and probably not most of those people on that thread. And I don't know if you realize this, because with the way you keep on responding, it's like it's like you don't know enough to know that you don't know enough. And it should have been obvious. I mean, if I say got myself a job as a car salesman and say I quit in orientation, I would at least know that I don't know anywhere near the amount about car selling or being a car salesman as somebody who's been doing it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You, on the other hand, don't seem to realize that you're talking to people who actually did complete their initial entry training, did go to units, and again, got combat tours under their belts. It's like you don't realize that that person that owns 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 guns probably is going to have a lot more knowledge about firearms than you do. Because I don't think you own much in the way of firearms. I mean, now, granted, you could own like a shotgun that you bought years ago and left in the closet, or maybe a tiny handgun, a cheap handgun that you left loaded in the nightstand drawer. But again, that doesn't put you anywhere near the knowledge of firearms that the average firearms enthusiast has. Just wanted to point that out for you there. All right. So, John, the best advice I can give you, man, is I would probably stop bragging about the 2.5 months you did in the Army, and probably understand that you don't know all these things that you think you know. And everyone else, well, I hope you got a laugh. Anyway, y'all take her easy out there and have a great day.